All right, let's take a moment and talk about probably one of the most anticipated microphones of 2024, and that is the DJI Mic Mini. Hey guys, my name is Zach, and sometimes I do camera reviews. In most cases, I actually review microphones. That's kind of my thing. I really love audio, and honestly, I want to progress how my audio sounds. So I've been through a lot of different setups over the last 6 months, and really, this is something that I've been looking for a while now. I actually followed all the leaks. I know that I probably shouldn't have, that kind of gives them a reason to do it. But as soon as I saw that DJI was coming out with a mini wireless microphone to kind of compare to the DJI Mic 1 and the Mic 2, especially as a competitor to the Hollyland Lark M2, I kind of knew I had to have it. I did buy this microphone with my own money. DJI did not send this to me. DJI doesn't even know that I exist because I'm not a big enough YouTuber to be on their radar. So this is going to be my biased review based on what my pocketbook says about this microphone. Now, straight out of the box, when you buy this microphone, if you buy this microphone, it will come with this nice little makeup style bag. It's got a zipper on the top. It's kind of cool. There's little pocket dividers inside. You can stuff everything in here. However, it's almost useless because everything that you might need will actually fit in this carry case. So this is the charging case. It comes with 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, a USB-C A to USB-C cable, and then you get a USB-C adapter that is to be used with smartphones, tablets, computers. You also get 4 dead cats. 2 of them are going to be for light duty. 2 of them are going to be for heavy duty. So really loud, windy environments. However, what's really cool about this whole thing is actually the fact that everything you need for your daily carry can fit right into this case. I say that's really cool because in a world where there are so many different portable wireless microphones, not all of them can fit everything into a small form factor. For example, I really love the Godox Magic X-T1 because the transmitters actually fit in the receiver. That is kind of the case. That doesn't hold the cable to plug it into your camera. It doesn't have any adapters for plugging it into your smartphone. And you also can't house the little windy dead cat things. That's one of those things that DJI really seems to hit the nail on the head with this. Now, circling back really quick, I want to talk about first the receiver. Now, the receiver is very standard to other receivers on the market, being that this is kind of a budget level microphone. You're going to see that it's missing some things compared to the DJI Mic 1 and the Mic 2. Most notably is the lack of screen. So this does not have an OLED screen. It is very bare bones. Instead, it has just a little knob on the side that is for your gain adjustment. So you can go all the way from -12 to +12. Also, you have a little power button that's kind of standard. You have 3 different LEDs, 1 for each transmitter, 1 for knowing if the receiver is actually on or off, the port for plugging it into your camera, a linking port, and then a USB-C port. So if you did want to use this with your smartphone, the USB-C can be used as a pass-through for charging. That way, in a lot of instances, you don't have to worry about maybe your phone dying while you're recording. In my model, just because I don't want to take it apart, I've seen some other reviewers talk about the fact that long-term, this USB-C adapter can get loose. And I've actually found myself that, in using this for a couple weeks now, mine is actually stuck. So maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. It still fits on the top of my camera's shoe mount. However, I can't take it off. It's a bit of an eyesore. And now my only concern is in the event that it rains, will water get into that port and potentially ruin it? On the flip side though is the transmitter. So there are 2 of these if you buy the kit version. You can also buy a separate version that has just 1 receiver and 1 transmitter. However, I opted for the kit because there are a lot of events where I actually use both microphones. So with that, they're super discreet. You can just clip them onto your shirt. In a lot of cases, we wear collared shirts or button up, so I just hide it in the collar. It works out great, but because they're so compact, I can easily do that. So on the back side, there's a magnet. There's also a clip that is built in. I'm not the biggest fan of the clip design. I've actually found it on multiple occasions to be too bulky. It actually causes it to not sit flush on your shirt. So if you do use the magnet like so, and you just clip it to your shirt, sometimes it'll sag. It looks a little funky, but it's not really a big deal. Maybe that's just me nitpicking. It's got a very similar finish, obviously, to the receiver. It's got a nice satin black finish. There's a nice machined kind of look DJI logo. On the bottom, because of how compact these microphones are, it has a proprietary magnet charging base. It doesn't use USB-C. I wish it did, but I understand for form factor reasons and probably cost sake as well, it doesn't. On the side, there's a button to relink it to the receiver, as well as a button for powering it on and off, which also doubles as the noise cancellation activation button. Now, talking on noise cancellation for just a second, this is arguably some of the best noise cancellation in a compact budget wireless microphone, because I've tested a bunch of other microphones of the same caliber, like the Hollyland Lark M2, the newer CM28, the Godox Magic X-T1, just to name a few, and most of them are good. However, not all noise cancellation is the same. Now, some of them advertise that it uses AI, which I don't know if that's true or not. I think that AI is going to be used as a marketing tool, but maybe that's a video for another day. AI is kind of being slapped onto everything. You know, the new MacBooks say that they have AI built in, microphones have AI built in, your watch has AI built in, everything has AI, but what does that actually mean? Is it just for processing power? Is it for noise cancellation? Beats me. This features two different levels of noise cancellation. There's a basic and a strong mode. And the basic mode is what I will use myself. It sounds the most true to tone, but it takes out a lot of the excess frequencies. It leaves a little bit of noise so you have some dynamic range. Whereas the strong mode, it introduces a little bit of distortion. So it's actually something that I don't want to test and I don't want to showcase because I don't think that that properly represents the microphone. Now, you can enable all that in the app, which we'll talk about later in this video, but that's something that DJI strives in. They strive for quality. Now, there are some cons with this microphone that we will talk about, but overall, it's a solid 9 out of 10 so far. The case, as we briefly showcased earlier, can house the charging cable, 2 transmitters with dead cats, and a receiver. And also it does double as the charging case for everything. So on the back side, it is powered via USB-C. On the front, there are 4 little LEDs indicating the power level status. What's really, really interesting about this charging case is actually how much it can charge. So you can get up to 3.5 full recharges from this case, which in a world where these transmitters are rated for 11.5 hours, the receiver for 10.5 hours, that means that you can get approximately 48 hours of charging and usability, which is amazing. Now, granted, I don't know many people that are going to need 48 straight hours of recording. You also have to factor in the battery on your camera. So in some cases, if you are using the camera for like a long shoot, maybe you want a V mount or an external battery pack. If you're just using the internal batteries, those will eventually die. Like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my camera battery right now, and I started this at 98% and we're already at 86%. So I've just been doing this for a few minutes and obviously the battery is very quickly deteriorating. Now, granted, I'm filming in 4K 30, so there's a lot of factors with that, but the fact that this little microphone can last as long as it can with this is amazing. And you can even get up to an additional hour of usage with just 5 minutes of charging in this case. Now, some of the drawbacks of this microphone are kind of apparent. It's not the best of the best by any means because it's a budget microphone. So it comes in at $169 for the kit. And so the kit includes both the transmitters, the case, the receiver, whole 9 yards. It's everything that you need to get started. Now, if you have a phone that has the lightning port, you do have to buy that separately. So it's not a full kit if you're an older iPhone user, so like the iPhone 14 and older. But for iPhone 15 and newer, or just people that are using their camera like I do, you're set, you're golden. You don't need anything else. The microphones themselves are 24-bit, which is really good. Most of these microphones are. If you want a higher end microphone, then you're going to be looking at the DJI Mic 2 or the Rode Wireless Pro. Those are both 32-bit. Those also have internal recording, which given the form factor of this, it's not really expected. I think it would have been really cool if DJI were able to work it in somehow, some way. But honestly, given the size of this thing, I can't complain too much. This microphone also does a lot of its features with software, and that actually uses the app. So in order to properly showcase that the best, I'm actually going to go ahead and plug this into my phone, and then I'll show you how the app works. Okay, so I have the app pulled up on the screen so you can see. As I continue to talk into this, you can see that the volume's moving, whole 9 yards. The microphone is actually in use right now. You can see at the very top of the screen, the battery. So because it's plugged into my phone, it is technically charging the receiver, hence why you would use that USB-C pass-through. Eventually this will drain your battery, so that is something to take into account. You can also see there's the different noise cancellation settings. So you have strong and basic. I'm going to keep it on basic. However, strong, as you can see, the little waveform, it goes flat because obviously it takes out more sound. In my opinion, I think it introduces a little bit too much distortion, so I would avoid using it, but that's just my personal opinion. Basic is more than enough. The audio channels, obviously, when you start this thing out, it works in mono. That works in a lot of situations because in post, if you want to have 2 separate channels, you would set it up in stereo, but then you have to now mimic the 2 channels. Otherwise, you're only hearing one voice on one earbud and one voice on the other earbud. It works for most people, but in my case, I just like a flat audio track. I'm not isolating anyone's audio, so it really doesn't matter to me. Then below that, you have a safety track. So that will record your audio at -6 dB based on whatever you have it set to on the receiver. So if you set the receiver to +12, then it will record one track at +6. So whatever that is, just subtract 6. That's where you get your safety track. That's in the event that your audio peaks and you want to bring it back down. Now, there's a low cut feature if you wanted to take out some of the rumblings of maybe if you're at a baseball game and the stadium is shaking, or if you're at the racetrack and you hear all of the vibrations from the engines. Introducing that low cut will take some of that bassy tone out. Maybe if you have a fairly bassy voice, that could be a benefit to you. The auto off function is self-explanatory. And then at the very bottom, I want to talk about the clipping control because that is probably the best part. Now, I did mention that these microphones do not have 30-bit internal recording. They don't have internal recording whatsoever, but being that they're not 32-bit means you could potentially peak the microphones, blow it out, and now you lose your audio. Now, this clipping control is an auto limiter. So I have it on, I would always enable it because in the event that I talk really, really loud into this microphone or I talk really, really quiet into this microphone, it will automatically adjust the internal volume of it to compensate. So it will attempt to remove the peaking and clipping. It's not perfect by any means because, you know, no microphone is perfect, especially for this price point. However, it does a very, very good job at what it does. But anyways, I feel like that is enough talking at this point. What you guys really want to do is you want to hear how it sounds. So for starters, I am just going to step out of the office. We're actually going to go down the street to the park. You're going to hear it outside. You're going to hear the noise cancellation. Then we're going to come inside and wrap up this video using the microphone for the rest of it. So let's go do that. And this is what the mic sounds like outside. So again, this is where I do all of my tests. We are at a somewhat busy park. It's Saturday morning. People are probably out here with their kids. They're screaming. They're actually setting up for our Christmas light show. So that's kind of cool. But now you guys should have the noise cancellation turned on. So this is what it's going to sound like. I can actually hear the trees ruffling behind me. So if I stand here for a second, so if you can hear that, then obviously the noise cancellation doesn't work. However, now that I have it turned back off, you should be able to hear. I actually have the little wind muffler dead cat on because it is crazy windy today. It was not in the forecast, so I do hope that this helps. This is actually the level 1 dead cat. There's a level 2 dead cat, but I didn't think to bring it with me because again, wasn't in the forecast that it was gonna be this windy. But yeah, that's kind of how this microphone sounds. What do you guys think? All right, so we're back inside my makeshift studio. The microphone is on my chest now, and so the audio that you listen to at the park is now going to kind of mimic the audio that you hear in here. This is obviously not the best treated environment, so as I move my head and I turn away from the microphone, you'll notice that, but I don't have any crazy sound deadening, I don't have any crazy insulation, so this is just kind of a spare bedroom that works for what I'm doing. So what do you guys think of the audio at this point? Did you guys like it at the park? Did you like the noise cancellation? I think the noise cancellation, again, is probably some of the best in a wireless microphone. Now, I personally would not advocate using it 24/7 because in the event that you lose audio, you can't really bring it back. But if you don't record with noise cancellation, you can always do a lot of that in post. So it's a balance. It's a balancing act and juggling what matters the most to you. If you were just run and gun filming on your phone and you want to upload as soon as you're done filming, noise cancellation is more than sufficient. However, if you want to be able to spend some time editing, really fine tweaking your audio, you can easily do that without turning the noise cancellation on and then editing in post. What does the microphone sound like to you guys? In my opinion, I think it favors a lot of the highs as well as a lot of the lows. It kind of lacks in the mid-tones, at least in my opinion, but that's also something that you can account for in post. So really, it's a very well-rounded microphone, especially for the $169 price point. You can also buy the different individual ones. Really, there's a lot of flexibility with this microphone. DJI wanted to create something that I think all creators could and should use. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the best microphone to ever exist because I haven't tested them all, so I don't know which one is the absolute best, but I think that this one should easily be in the top 5, maybe even the top 3. You know, maybe is that too bold of a claim? I don't know. Now, something I didn't get to test at the park is the wireless range. Now, DJI does advertise this as working at 1,300 feet or 400 meters, which is amazing range. I didn't test it mostly because I didn't have enough length to test it. What you really need for that situation is an open field. If you have a lot of interference, then obviously you won't get the full 1,300 feet because they advertise that as line of sight, so without interruptions. Now, I don't understand in what situation you would use this. Maybe if you were rock climbing and you wanted to record yourself all the way at the top of a hill or a rock or a mountain, whatever it may be, maybe it would be useful, but you're gonna need a long lens for that. And now I'm filming with a very wide lens because that's what makes sense for me. That's my aesthetic. However, you're gonna need like an 18-300 if you're on an APS-C body like myself. You're going to need something crazy. And even then, you're not going to be able to reach your subject at 1,300 feet away, or at least I don't think I would be able to. So maybe that's really good, but in theory, maybe not. What they do advertise with that is it also has Bluetooth. So first off, they do offer the ability to connect this microphone directly to all of the Osmo products. So the Osmo Action 4 and 5, as well as the Pocket 3. So all of those connect directly to the microphone over Bluetooth. And you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, if it has Bluetooth, maybe it will also work with your smartphone. And you'd be right in thinking that. However, it's not something I would recommend. The smartphone is really good, especially when it's plugged in directly to the receiver. But if you do it just via Bluetooth transmission, the audio quality is kind of garbage. Maybe it's something that they can fix in a firmware update, but the fact that I think they invested so much time and effort into the wireless range of this product, just for it to fall flat with iPhone Bluetooth capability, I don't know. It makes me wonder, you know, did they cheap out somewhere? Is that where they're cutting the corners and cutting cost? I don't really know all those things. So maybe it's something that with software can be fixed. So if you're an iPhone user or an Android user, or you just film with your smartphone in general, go ahead, buy the kit, make sure you get the receiver, plug it in manually, just go old fashioned with it, but don't use Bluetooth unless you really don't care about how your audio sounds. Now, if you're in a pinch and maybe the receiver died or you left it at home, then you can easily do it and you can try to fix it in post, but it's just not gonna be the same. So now just to recap everything. So obviously, it sounds really good inside and outside, in my opinion. It sounds good with the noise cancellation off. It's got 24-bit audio, which has the auto limiting capabilities to kind of mimic 32-bit audio, which is a huge bonus. It's super compact. These things only weigh 10 grams. They have a nice sleek finish. You can even mount them inverse. I have it mounted on the outside of my shirt just so that you can see that I'm actually using it. If I had it mounted on the inside, you really wouldn't know, other than the fact that the magnet's showing and it says DJI on the back. Overall, I think it's a really good microphone. For $169 for the full kit, it's hard to beat. Now, the Holley Landmark M2 is $179. The Godox Magic XT1 is $109. There are a bunch of other microphones in this range, but if you really want superior audio quality and this isn't cutting it for you, there's the DJI Mic 1 and 2. I think respectively, the Mic 1 is $249, the Mic 2 is $349. So there's a significant price jump. It's almost 3 times the amount for the Mic 2 over this one, the Mini. It's more than sufficient. This is a budget creator microphone, but in a lot of use cases, it's probably going to be better than the Lark 2 or the Magic X2 at least for me. I really love how the audio sounds, and I think this is something that I'm going to start using more and more as we go into 2025. So anyways, this might be my last video for the year. It might not be. I'll see what happens around New Year's. So in the event that you're seeing this right before the holidays or right after the holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like and let me know what you think of this microphone, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.